All right, so here we've got the product rule, and remember the proof is in a separate video. So if you're itching to know where this comes from, go take a look at that one. But the main idea is that I want to show you guys why we need a product rule. Because you might be thinking, well, if I'm getting, for example, the derivative of the product of two functions, let me just make up two functions. How about x squared times x to the third? Why can't you just get the derivative of each one and then multiply them? So let me show you both ways. So see, if I multiply these, so here I'm going to do multiply. Say I'm going to multiply them first. Okay, so if I multiply them first, I get x squared times x to the third is x to the fifth. And if you get the derivative of x to the fifth, that equals to 5x to the fourth, using the power rule. Aha. But what if you get the derivative individually? Derivative individually. You'll notice that the derivative of x squared is 2x. The derivative of x to the third is 3x squared. Whoa, those aren't even close to being the same. So, this tells you that something is up. And so in reality, you need to have the, whenever you're multiplying two different functions, you need to use the product rule. Okay, now, to remember this is a seemingly large formula, but it's easier to remember it in words. So when you're multiplying two functions, f and g, what you want to do is so instead of doing, thinking of these as f and g, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to these in terms of first and second. Okay, so then this, you can remember it in words. So this is get the derivative of the first times the second and plus the first times the derivative of the second. Okay, so let's do an example how you actually do this. Let's say you're multiplying two functions. Let's say you want to find the derivative of x times e to the x. Okay, now this example, this is different than the one I just showed you because you can't actually multiply these two together to get one function. So for this one, since you're multiplying two functions, you have to use the product rule. Okay, so I'm going to call this one the first, and this one's going to be the second. Okay, so let's just go through this. So the derivative of the first, so the derivative of x, which is simply the number 1, right? Because this has an exponent of 1, so you bring that down and then subtract 1, so you get just the number 1, times the second, leaving it alone, so e to the x, plus the first, leave it alone, which is just x, times the derivative of the second. Now remember, e to the x is the only function that its derivative is equal to itself. And that's it. So let's do another one. Let's say, for example, I want to find the derivative of, let's say we've got x squared plus 4 times 3 minus 7 e to the x. Okay, so I'm going to start this one down here because I'm going to need a little bit more room, but let's say that this one is the first. Let me color it in. What color do you guys want? How about the first one is going to be blue, and the second is going to be orange. Okay, so power rule says, let me move it up. I kind of lost it over here. Derivative of the first times the second. So the derivative of the first, which is, I'm going to put it in parentheses, the derivative of x squared is 2x plus derivative of 4, which is 0, times the second, leaving it alone, 3 minus 7 e to the x, plus the first, leave it alone, x squared plus 4, times the derivative of the second. So the derivative of the second, 3 minus 7 e to the x, is going to be 0 minus, and the derivative of 7 e to the x is just 7 e to the x.